Good morning, my beauties. Wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of A Crystal Clear Mind. Today, I am blessed to be joined by this lovely lady. This is Louise Jane. Hi, Louise.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for coming on. I can't wait for you to start chatting. So, Louise Jane is an energy healer and bodywork therapist. So, I'm going to start there. I'm always hand over to my guests. I always ask them to explain what they do because trust me, no one can describe you better than you. But I'd love to know somewhere in there, what is a bodywork therapist?
And it's such a vast question and one that always kind of stumps me. And I think it must stump everybody who works with energy or who is a healer to try and define something that is so broad. So to kind of put it into a couple of sentences, body work is working with the body, obviously, but working with the energetics of the body, working with the fascia, working with what I call the soul embodied. So you're working with everything. Whereas massage therapy, I see that as working totally with the body, and energy maybe. But body work is all of it. So you're working with the energy, the fascia, uh, everything going on within the body, the information in the body, working completely with whatever is being presented at the time.
Love that house. I perfectly holistic, literally all the whole of
The
you,
whole
all encompassed
thing.
in one thing. Love it.
Yeah. Because
Absolutely
in
love it.
that,
So how did
any,
you
sorry, go on.
so sorry, my love. I think we might have a minor delay there,
There
but
was a bit of a
how did
delay.
you get into all of this?
So my journey started, I've always been really, really super sensitive with energy, always had a real understanding of people. I could always sense when people were saying something, but their energy was completely not what they were saying, which was very confusing. And then some 26 years ago, I found myself on my own with two young children. Their father had just passed away. We'd already broken up
Sorry.
because he'd taken this path, and I decided I'm taking that path by listening to this. Um, he passed away through very, tragic circumstances. And I found myself just wanting to speak with him, I guess, to
That
connect
makes
with
sense.
him because I
Yeah.
felt it was so shocking, that I was like, and I know that he's going to be somewhere. I've always had that belief in the spirit. Um, so I started with the candle meditation, sitting there
Yeah.
every night, staring at a candle with the view and with the desire and that wanting to be able to astral project. I was thinking, I know I can do it. I know I can get out there and I can find his soul and I can talk to him. I didn't ever manage to do astral projection, but what I did do,
That is
I did
such a
have,
shame.
I know, right? But that kind of leads on to the body work, really. So there was me then trying, two young children going through this traumatic thing, looking for something to, I suppose, the same reason everybody comes to healing, looking for something for reassurance, um, for guidance, for healing for myself. I started a job. A man gave me a book all about energy and about qigong. So I started doing that. Felt so much energy. Got the kids to do it as well. They'd sit there, bless them, in front of the fire, doing their little meditation, which was so sweet.
Oh,
I
that's so
know.
cute.
It's- and I just felt all this energy, and it was like a light bulb went off, and I was, oh my God, what is this? What is all of this? I can feel now, and I could feel energy everywhere. So that was
Yeah.
that. And it then led me on to Reiki. I went and had a Reiki session with somebody, and I was just like, what the fuck just happened to me? Like I could feel like waves of energy flowing through me. Came home and I was just like buzzing. So then I decided to learn Reiki. I suppose if you do learn it or get attuned to it, I suppose is a better word. And that just started me off on that whole journey with energy. Very, very soon into that journey, of seeing clients, it was mainly women, like as we spoke about before, it's, mainly women at first, wasn't it? That,
Yeah.
was into the spiritual side of life, I suppose. And every woman that came had some kind of block or issue in their womb and in their throat. So then that led me down another journey of what is actually going on here in these women's bodies.
Yeah.
Then I started to
Yeah, yeah, and
learn,
I'm sure that most women are, like,
yeah,
nodding along with this right now, kinda going, "Yeah, I can relate to that."
it was amazing because I thought, surely not every single woman that comes can have the same issue. Like, what is this? What is this all about? So then that obviously led me on to another, I suppose, path of my whole journey, which was then
Yeah,
looking at the womb and the feminine, and energy there, what was happening, which a lot of it was obviously repression, it was ancestral, it was historic, it was societal, it was a whole big
um,
um, pathway that led me down. I looked at body work. I started working with the body. It became very, very apparent to me when I started working with energy that I needed to touch the body, that the body needed that we're all touch deprived. So
yeah.
many of us are so touch deprived, and how healing that is just for somebody to put their hand on you. And then what I started to notice, so that was that part. So then I trained in all different types of massage and body work, and from Lomi to, traditional Swedish massage. I think I took about 10 or so courses in different massage therapy. Um, then that led me on to the fascia, because then I was obviously touching people, massaging through certain pain points, and consciousness was then taking us down another alleyway of past life memories coming up for the person,
Yeah.
or others, like other off planet memory. So it was interesting, right? Because it was like I started off wanting to astral project and get out there and discover all this stuff going on in the spiritual realms. And then it led me into the body, and it was in the body that I then found it.
I did feel like that's, like a kind of moment, do you know what I mean? Like, listening to you speak, and I'm literally thinking the same thing, like, you're now working within the body, you're not trying to look out there, and yet somehow you are connected to all of these things that are out there, which is incredible. Mind blown.
Because
Absolutely love it. Love it. You
I
can't,
know,
you
I
just
know.
couldn't make this stuff up. I love it.
It is absolutely fascinating. And I think
Mhm.
that it's not that I think it is that I know that I feel that that's what a lot of people do, is that they start off on that journey looking outside. You do all the different things, which are good. It's good to get all of that
Yeah.
experience. But then coming back in and realizing what is encoded within us, like in our cells, in our DNA, that they say some of our DNA is sleepy. Is it really? It wouldn't just be there for no reason, would it? You know, it's fascinating. Fascinating
Beyond that,
fascia, I
I
call
wish
it.
there was like a really a bigger word than that. It is mesmerizing. And the more we all start to prod and poke in different areas, and the more, as you said, you go off and you learn this, you learn that, because it's all part of your journey. You may or may not use or utilize everything, but it's all part of your mental and your physical journey and that emotional journey. Maybe you need that as well, right? I've noticed the things that I learn is because actually I need it more than what I actually need to project out to others, and I love that when you kind of go, oh, is that what's happening? It is a huge journey. It's why most of these wonderful people I have on are all multifaceted. You're so multi-skilled, all of you. I'm still technically like a little bubby on my journey. I'm still only a few years in. I'm only about 5 years in, 4 years into Reiki. I'm really new. I'm like a toddler age, aren't I? I've still got miles to go, and I've got so many courses already lined up, because you just want to keep spreading further and further into your knowledge and your learning. Um, just
It's that
absolutely, like,
first, isn't
honestly,
it? It's like it
you've like blown my
awakens.
mind.
It actually awakens that first, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because it triggers something within. You're like, oh my gosh, that's something that I actually know it's something that was not maybe missing in my life, but something that just makes sense. isn't
And
it?
some of
And
it
then
is a
it just
coming back to
awakens
an
that.
original version of you as well. As you said, maybe not sleepy, dormant DNA at all. There are things that I do when I'm working with energy and when I'm healing, whether it's myself or someone else. I couldn't feel more naturally stated if I
Mm.
tried. It's almost as if that's my natural state, and my everyday going to the shops and driving the car and dropping the kids off at school, that's not naturally where I'm meant to be. I mean, obviously that's what we have to do. We have to live, but natural state, I actually feel so convinced I was supposed to do this because it feels that way when I do it. That I feel that you're right. It's not sleepy DNA. It's definitely there with far
Well,
more information than
yeah,
they're allowing us to realize. Or maybe they don't
exactly,
know.
exactly. And I think that the more we, uncover about ourselves, the more fascinating it becomes. And the more we then awaken that memory, because I don't know if you have that same thing when you're working. It's almost like you, okay, you have the guidelines of how you work when you start training in these different modalities, but then something else takes over, doesn't it? It's that intuitive knowing that comes from some part of you. And what I always find fascinating when working with the body that way is then how it can be the person on the couch is seeing the same thing that I'm seeing. Like we're seeing and having the same
Yeah.
experience. Whether or not, like I had a lady once who had this terrible pain in her neck and shoulder. I started working with her, and obviously the body started unwinding, the fascia started unwinding. And then as she started to unwind this arm and shoulder, she started talking in like this different tone of voice. And I was like, no one prepared me for this. No one, no part of, no training covered this. She started talking in another voice, and I felt my energy getting really like drawn in, you know. So then I kind of, we're going well off tangent here, but anyway, then I kind of like started talking to her on the couch. Was like, no, hang on a minute. I'm talking to the lady in front of me. And she sort of then started talking to me. She said, this is what happened. She said, when this pain goes, she said, I feel like it's not me, like it's another part of me.
Wow.
So it was so weird, honestly. But
Oh my
then I sort of
God.
came back,
But
I sort
again,
of
weird, but wonderful.
I grounded myself back in my body because I thought, I know what's happening here. My energy is actually getting drawn into this. So I then kind of like, no, I'm talking to this lady on the couch, and, she's the one in front of me. She's the one living, breathing. She's the living, breathing version of herself. What is this other part? And we journeyed together with it. And it was another life where she had literally, she was in some army, I can't remember, some military, and something was happening that was wrong. And she had had her arm literally pulled up around her back.
And that's why it was hurting.
And that's what it's hurting. So when we kind of, that part of her that felt so I suppose repressed in a way and guilty, she had all of that, all this guilt feeling. So as we kind of started talking to that part, all of that guilt was coming up and out of her, and she was
Yeah.
crying and whatnot. And once we kind of resolved that and brought it into forgiveness, I suppose, of the heart, the arm went down, the pain has never come back again. So no matter what way you look at it, that information is within us, isn't it? We're holding it in us.
It's amazing how much we hold within us as well. And it's become sort of recently, I've noticed quite an influx. So maybe it's just hitting a little bit of a trend at the moment, perhaps, of this kind of, realizing what you were before, looking back at the sort of, the witch wound and stuff like that. You can see all of that sort of stuff coming in. Um, But you hear stories like that and you realize how much we are all walking around with it. And we do. We all have this weird thing that, like you just know something, or you've never tried something, but you know how to do it. Or I had a conversation when I did my Reiki masters, I think it was. I was talking with one of the other students, and I said that I'd always wanted to be a teacher. I'd always wanted to be a teacher, but I don't want to work with kids. No offense against them. I don't have the patience to give
Mm.
to young children or even especially teenagers. As a teacher, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do what they do for a living, but I've always wanted to teach. And he just looked at me and he went, "What do you think that you do now?" And I was like, "Well, I do this, I do that, I'm this, I'm that." He's like, "Yeah, but you're not." He said, "You are in your own way. You're teaching adults. You're actually doing exactly what you said you wanted to do when you were like a child that you believe you're not." He said, "But you already are." He said, "You know, you are teaching people, you are sharing knowledge, you are helping people, and you are working with kids, you know, for the teaching side. You are working with adults exactly as you kind of wish." You just sit there and you go, "Oh, yeah." And he said, he sort of put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "But I just want to let you know," he said, "that I can see that you were a teacher before." He said, "I don't know when, but I can see it." And you just kind of sit there going, is that maybe where it came from? All those years ago when I was probably 8 years old thinking I'd love to be a teacher, but I don't want to work with children. I knew all the way back then I didn't want to work with kids. You know, that did I know something? Did I have this recollection
Yes,
that that's
yes,
what I was able to do, that I've already done it before, the skill
yes,
existed within me? And you kind of now look and you go,
100%.
yes, the answer is yes.
100%. I mean, epigenetics has shown now, hasn't it, that we hold, they don't call it memory. They say like I can't remember what the actual word, like an imprint, I suppose, or an
Yeah.
experience that would teach us, people who are horrified of fire or they're scared of something or other. It's because that echo of that from through their genetic lines. That's what I mean. No matter what way you look at it, whether you look at it through epigenetics or you look at it through the soul and the fact that we are, which is what I believe as well, that we are, multidimensional and that we have had various different lives. We're probably having lives in other dimensions right now. And I feel like that is where we are now with the whole of the collective experience, I guess. You think about it. I mean, where am I trying to get at with this? Like, if you looked back at our parents, nobody went for healing. Nobody even really had a massage, really, did they? People didn't do
Not
that.
really.
They
No,
didn't.
I remember my nan going to a medium once and everybody thought she was absolutely batty.
People didn't really do that. But this lifetime, look at what we're doing. I mean, people are having ancestral healing, karmic clearing. They're going all the way back there, you know, doing that. They're releasing all of those wounds. They're releasing all of the stuff that, keeps you running that same program so that then they can remember that essence and their gift, isn't it? And their purpose in this lifetime. And it's
I
funny
was
you say
think
you
it's a
wanted to
huge
be a
reason
teacher.
why.
It's funny you say you wanted to be a teacher because I remember being about 9 and promising my friend Kay that we were going to be nuns. We were going to be nuns. I said, I want to be a nun or a teacher. Yeah, and funny, really, because on this spiritual journey, I've spent quite a lot of time living like a nun, really, and being on my own.
I love it.
Yeah.
This is so strange. The things that we say and the things that we think when we're younger, and you assume it's just the mind of a child. But we're so much more open at that age, aren't we? We're like little sponges. We absorb, we're intuitive. We feel our sixth sense is very, very active. That I think I would believe the word of a 6-year-old more than I would my own at this rate, you know, because they can see it and feel it just like animals. They're so in tune with all of that. That you've got to look back on your younger self and kind of go, you knew more. You did, you knew more. So you've got to sort of, I'd love to tap in to my younger version, you know, like my
Yeah.
inner child, my younger self more to try and find out what did you know that I've probably forgotten or pushed down or society pushed it down for me. And I've kind of repressed those thoughts because you might be on something, you know?
Well, you can. There's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think
So
that
quick question.
the more we heal, the more we kind of recover, I suppose, and repair ourselves from all of those little things that had us doubt ourselves, that made us shrink,
Definitely.
made us, live in this little box of a life. The more we release that, then that really is that gateway, isn't it? That's that gateway to all of that inner remembering
Yeah, definitely.
and
And
all of that
there's a lot of power in
information
that.
we are.
Yeah, huge amounts of power in that. I don't mean power in that awful way, just that wonderful, as you said earlier, that awakening power, learning, relearning and refinding ourselves. How fabulous is that? You know,
It
I
is, and
absolutely
it
love
does
that.
have to be from a grounded perspective, doesn't it? Because, often as well, when people go on this journey of this spiritual journey, whatever, sometimes they can become too into that and they kind of lose that anchor, don't they? And they can become a little bit, disconnected from life. And that's not really the purpose, is it? We're not supposed to just be in that. It's about bringing that embodied, isn't it? That's why I fully, fully believe it, that we are evolving that way, that not to be looking out there and be some spiritual guru or spiritual person just sitting there meditating all day, because we can do that when we've left this body. We will be in that. It's about bringing it in and awakening this sleepy DNA or whatever it is within us, and the gifts and the ability to self heal, to communicate with each other without words, um, to make the world a better place. And I know that sounds really corny, but you know, my
No,
biggest,
it doesn't.
my biggest, uh, not bugbear or challenge. What is the word? My biggest reason, I suppose, that what I would love to see is people not being so reliant on big pharma and remembering that the ability that we have, like how our thoughts affect our body, how our words affect our body, how we affect each other, the power that
Yeah,
we
I
are.
have a lot of conversations about medicine and big pharma and the NHS and self healing and the ability to heal ourselves and each other. And someone recently sort of said to me, like the idea of sort of like healing your ailments. Obviously, again, I would always reiterate, we need the NHS, we need doctors. I'm never 100% against it. The system is broken, but I'm not against the NHS. Obviously, if I break my leg, I know who I'm running to.
Absolutely.
But for the other things, your standard bits and bobs and so on. Someone did say to me, like if it's so possible to heal yourself or to have someone heal you, then why are there so many sick people in the world? And the thing is I often look to exactly what you just said. I look to the medicine that we have been, not just us, perhaps even our parents and our grandparents have been taking all this time, that you look and kind of think I think is a bit of a build-up. And I agree with you. I would love to see that reduction in medication required, because I feel that for the one that you take for this important thing, you're having to take 10 others to combat the side effects of the one that you need for the thing, and I meet so many people that rattle whilst they walk, because they're taking so many damn tablets. And then they fix the one thing, but obviously then it's given them other things. Whether that's they become diabetic or they've become, they've got high blood pressure now, or perhaps they've got low blood pressure, or now they've got cholesterol and they've got this and that and the other. Now they've got a heart problem. Now they've got a kidney problem. Now there's a liver problem. And it's all because of this amalgamation of medicine that they're taking. And it must be so
Absolutely.
hard. But I would love to see a reduction in that, like a more logical reduction in it. If you need it, take it. If there was a way for it to just come down a little bit so that not everything relied upon this stuff that is actually in its own way kind of hurting you,
Have
I
you
would
looked at
absolutely love that.
have you looked at or have you got any books on like the metaphysical cause of disease? Have you got any books on that? Because
No, I
that is
have got a book I
absolutely
haven't read yet
fascinating.
about
Yeah.
how we've sedated ourselves with medication, but looking
Find
inwards. But
yourself
no,
find yourself a good book on that about the metaphysical causes, like the emotional causes of dis-ease. So,
Yeah.
for instance, I had a bit of a heart thing going on a few years ago, and they wanted to put me on beta blockers, and I was like, "There's no way I'm going on that. I want to find out what's," because it was in it. I knew it was an emotional thing.
Yeah.
And when you look at the cause, you go in and have a look at the cause of the emotional reasoning behind it. You're like, oh my God, yes, that is actually how I feel. That is actually a thing. So then I went through and I worked on what that was. It was about father healing. Um, it was about lack of being able to receive love, about being able to give love. It was literally affecting the electrical rhythms in my heart,
Oh,
which is
wow.
energy.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that and touch wood,
That's
I've never
incredible.
had to take a tablet for it. But
Oh,
there's
that's
loads of things
incredible.
like, yeah, you have a look when if you've got something, I don't know,
Yeah.
lower back problems or whatever, and you look in and see what it is. It's
Well, I'm
fascinating.
currently
Again,
dealing with something. I've got a completely unexplained, undiagnosable, itchy skin. So they've gone, every woman out here is going to nod at this point. They turned around and said, "It's your age. You're probably perimenopausal." And I just kind of went, it's not really good enough for me to imagine that that's the reason why it's there, because there's actually no necessary confirmation that I am or am not perimenopausal. So signing it off as such is a little bit glib, And I looked into it a bit more, and I kind of looked and went, okay, a lot of people are saying that it is, an age thing. Look at this, look at that. They tried everything. They tried a steroid cream. They tried body wash. They decided I had scabies. I didn't have scabies, but I was treated for scabies, which was a horrendous treatment. It was awful. But got treated for that, assuming that they were probably correct. They weren't. It wasn't that either. I got treated for eczema, even though there's no physical sign. I mean, you can see my skin. There's no sign of anything. But when I say itchy, I mean uncontrollably, like something is crawling on me. My skin is on fire. There's no making it feel better. And that's when I started to look at what you're saying, the metaphysical. And I kind of went, let's go and have a little look at what this could mean if it's not an actual ailment on the physical plane. And it's liver related.
I was going to say liver. I can feel that as you're
So,
talking.
yeah, so I
Actually,
started working on it. I have. And do you know what? It's slowly coming together now. It's taking a little bit longer than, let's say, if you were to take an antibiotic, but you also can't take antibiotic for something that doesn't seem to exist. So I'm now I'm taking magnesium to help with my skin. I am drinking dandelion root tea, which I can't bear the taste of. It's like taking medicine for me, but it's
very bitter,
helping.
isn't it?
Do you know what? For me, it's all the spice in it. It's the cinnamon and the cloves. I don't like that sort of flavor, but hell, do you know what? I would rather that than the skin issue. So I'm drinking my dandelion root, and it's cleansing my liver out. I feel better. I feel more energized. My skin feels better. And I've been working on all of those emotional causes that come from it. Yeah.
I can feel that as you're
The
talking, because
unspoken.
it's that, isn't it? It's repressed anger as well, isn't it? It's like, as women, we are taught to be nice.
Yeah.
We're
Just
not
just be
we're not
nice.
taught
Let
that.
it be polite.
Men and boys, and no disrespect to the men here, I love men's fire, but men and boys are, it's okay for them, isn't it, to have a punch up and to run around being all that way. Girls, we weren't taught to be that way, were we? We were taught to be nice, and a lot of women hold repressed anger, which is what the
And I
womb in the
think that it
throat
still
business
occurs
was.
even now, even though we try not to repress it so much anymore. And I am quite an opinionated woman. I do say what I think, but I also have realized I'm quite a polite person, or more to a point, a forced polite person. So I do shut my mouth quite a lot, and I just go, "Oh, maybe not now. Maybe this is
Mm.
not the right thing to say." So I just keep quiet. And you're right, those things, they start to add up, and it adds up real fast as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, metaphysical is it's all in there, isn't it?
We often cry, don't we, rather than get angry. I think women seem to find, I'm speaking for myself here and people I know, that I find it a lot easier to cry than I am to actually show anger. That is how I release it, is through crying.
Yeah, I used to call it that, angry crying. Yeah, I used to say, "I'm not crying because 'cause I'm sad, I'm crying because 'cause I'm angry."
Yeah,
And you just kind of go, "That's mad, you should be able to be angry." And I can feel it now. Saying this on a podcast, we're not live, obviously, but, saying it here for the world to hear that potentially my skin condition was caused by a blockage in my throat and the
that could
anger
be.
held in my liver, you kind of go, I feel embarrassed all of a sudden, like, "Oh my God." And I feel a little bit, almost a little bit red cheeked. And you kind of go, hold on, why am I embarrassed? We all feel anger. We all feel anger. We all hold stuff back and we all hold back words at times. Why is my instant, maybe upbringing or that kind of like that installed societal belief that I should be embarrassed instantly without even considering it? I feel embarrassed. And you're like, no, why am I feeling embarrassed? I'm more enlightened than this. No, I can't be embarrassed, but I am. I do. I feel, and you kind of
Because
go,
like
that's
you say,
mad.
that those patterns and programs, they're,
Yeah.
they're deeply embedded in there.
They're very
Yeah.
deep. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, that, you're, and this is why I know the word journey is used a lot. And I don't always like overused trendy terminology, but I do like the word journey for what this is for us because it never ends. It
It
will
never ends.
go all the way to the end for us. We will always evolve as we move on. Every step of the way is something new for us. We change, we evolve, we move forward, we wake up a bit more. And I love that. And I look and I think that this is actually a prime example. So to absolutely everybody out there, wherever you may be on your journey, just know that this is where I am on my journey. And I am still instantly feeling that societal pressure to be embarrassed that I have feelings. And that's crazy because I don't believe that way at all. I don't feel that way at all. But there it is, embedded and live on here. There's a
Shift that
wonderful
shit.
example. Yeah, release that, let it go, man.
And that is the beauty of it, isn't it? Of being aware, and slowing down enough to be aware of what is actually going on within us. Because so often it is subconscious. The
Yeah.
body is our subconscious, isn't it? And it's all held within us. So it's slowing down enough so that you can be aware of it. And I think once you've noticed it, then it's not going to come up again. Or if it does, you can just process it quicker and easier.
Exactly. Now you sort of know which area to work on, don't you? Like
Yeah.
now I can look and kind of go, oh, if I start itching or something's bothering me, I can kind of go, okay, I know which two
Yeah.
areas to start
Like
looking at
my
and
heart
working with.
thing, like when I get like a little bit of a racing heart, it's always when I'm doing something that I don't really want to be doing. I notice it now.
Do
I'm
you
like,
know what?
oh,
I
it's
had a
like my heart
friend
is
that used to
saying,
say,
oh, hang on a minute. Don't really,
yeah,
I'm doing so, if I'm doing something that isn't aligned or I'm speaking in a way or, acting in a way that isn't true to me, it's like my heart will give it, stop that.
literally one of the first things I learned from a friend was, and she's very spiritually advanced, and one of the first things I learned on my journey was, if it's not a hell yeah, then it's a hell no. And it's as simple as that. And when you go, oh my God, that's so simple. And you realize how many things you do that we now know are called, out of alignment. It's not aligned with my energy, my vibe, my wants, my wishes, my desires. But you look over things and you're right. The second that I am doing something that I wish I'd not said yes to, if I let my boundaries lax a little bit and I do the thing I didn't want to be doing or I didn't have time for, or I'm doing
Mm.
something I just don't want to and I wish I'd said no, then I don't get heart flutter. I get backache, lower, like, you know,
It's so
sort of back,
interesting, isn't it? I mean,
back liver.
I look at our body now as like the dashboard of a car.
Yeah.
You look at your dashboard and you think, oh yeah, that's telling me, that's, I need to put more petrol in, I need to do this, I need to do that. And really, the more we can get to the truth of our body and all of that it holds, and it's our biggest investment, isn't it? And it's taking us through this
It is.
life in this body. The more we can listen
Yeah.
to its messages, then the healthier we're going to be, the happier we're going to be, the happier everyone around us is going to be, because they know that they can be how they want to be without having to pretend that they're being something else. I think that's it. I'm just so bored and sick to death of people doing things and being ways that it's not actually real and it's not really what people want to be doing. I'm very lucky that
And
most
it's
of
a
the people around
shame.
me are the same, that they're on this journey as
Yeah.
well. So we can be really open and honest with each other, you know.
Which I love. I love being able to just have
Mm.
these very, very frank conversations with people like yourself, where we're all of the same thinking, no matter where we're on our path, whether we've been in it for 30 years or whether we're brand new. But there's no judgment there. It's just space held for each other. And what a
Yeah.
beautiful thing it is. Because you're
Often
right,
it
no
means
matter
you
who
don't
you
get to
deal
do,
with.
yeah, sorry. Often it means you don't get your plans seem to go out the window quite a bit, because then somebody might be,
Yeah.
no, I don't fancy that today. So you end up doing completely fuck all.
That was last week for me. That was last week for me. So I have learned that my boundaries need a lot of work. I need to work on my boundaries quite a bit. For my own sake, I put myself into burnout by giving away my boundary space. So I know I've got to work on that, and it's taking it's a long journey, this one. That's fine. That's okay. Just a little bit at a time, as long as I know. And last week, I just couldn't cope. I had so many appointments for wonderful people like yourself when I first met you, to talk and see about a podcast episode. I have recordings booked in. I had work with my catering company with my husband. I had stuff with the kids on their last week of Easter holidays. And we just all of a sudden go, like, it's almost like someone takes over and just go, enough. And I just texted absolutely everybody, and I said to them, "I'm really sorry. My
Yeah.
energy is really out of alignment. I can't do this right now. Can we reschedule?" Do you know what? Not one of those people were like, "Oh God, I'm so disappointed." They were just literally like, "Totally agree. Do you know what? I don't feel great today either. Oh, do you know what? Today's not going so great for me. And, the universe is kind of sending me a sign that I need to back off." And I'm like, amazing. It's funny. You just say the thing.
I
Be
think
honest.
people would
Just
rather
say the
you
thing.
show up and be present, wouldn't they? They'd rather you show up as
Yeah.
as your full self, rather than feel drained and tired and all of that stuff.
But how beautiful to be able to just tell these people the truth. It's so refreshing.
Liberating. It's
Very,
liberating.
very liberating. Just beautiful to be able to be so honest and find that not only are they accepting your thoughts and what you're saying, and they're okay with it, but they're also kind of going, "Do you know what? Today feels a bit wonky for me too." And you kind of go, "Oh, so it's not just me then." And you've almost done them a favor, and you kind of end up feeling like, "Oh, that was actually a massive relief off of my chest." I feel like I
Yeah.
didn't hit burnout thanks to being so honest with these people and then being so honest in return. I mean, how
I think,
beautiful is
yeah,
that? You
one of
know?
my biggest bugbears is when people do the "Hi, hey, how are you?" and we go, "Yeah, yeah, fine, thanks, you?" And I think, "Oh, I can't do it." And I can't do like what do they call that chat? Like that, just, when you're just chatting and there's no substance to it. What do they call that?
What? Like small talk.
Small talk. Can't do it. I just can't do
I've got
it.
to say, I can't imagine you actually doing small talk at
I
all. I feel
can't
like
do
it would
it.
all be big talk.
No, if you want to go deep and you want to talk about the universe and the body and all the fascinating shit going on in there, then yeah, but I'm down for that. But no, small talk, no thanks.
It's a very British thing, isn't it? To just always tell people you're fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. And I hear that word and I'm like, what do you really want to say? Because it's not fine. You're not
Yeah,
fine.
tell me the truth. Tell me the
Tell me the
truth. How
truth.
are you really?
Yeah.
And if you haven't got the capacity to hear the truth, then don't ask. Don't ask if somebody's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's a terribly British thing to just be stiff upper lipped and, oh, everything's okay and, all above board, and we keep everything quiet and private and, not for the public to know and all this kind of stuff. And I find that people, we're also disconnected generally from each other as well. You were saying about that touch, like we're lacking that human connection so badly. That
Yeah,
When
that
you're
that
honest with
became
someone.
apparent in the COVID times, didn't it? I mean, I
Oh,
had a client
goodness,
come and he hadn't seen anybody for 3 months. He'd had no contact with anyone.
sometimes.
And he came in and I just cuddled him for about 5 minutes. I was just like, just be held. Just be held. And I'd never seen this person so low, he was always very bubbly and everything. And he was the effect that had on people was absolutely shocking. Absolutely
Yeah.
shocking. We need each other, don't we? And that is part of the ancient remembering again, isn't it? That we were in community. We had each other, we had that connection, we shared wisdom, we were in touch with nature, we lived that way. Okay, we can't live that way now, I suppose, because of the way everything is, but we could try to kind of just bring a bit of that into our day. 10 minutes
Yeah, we've
connecting with
definitely lost
nature.
that community vibe, haven't we? Again, I think that's why we find such a sort of love and a connection and light in this community, whether you call it spirituality or the holistic side or the well-being side or even the mental health side. But there is a much vaster, is that a word? Vaster? More vast, I think is actually the right term. So more vast community. There is a sense of community here. We
Yeah.
do apply a lot of touch. We do offer cuddles for no reason. We do have that connection between us. We are there to just be and hold space for each other. And I think that's what draws us to it. And I think that, yeah, once we are in it, there's no going back here. Do you know what I mean? All you want to do is
Oh,
invite
God,
everyone
no.
you know into it.
No, there's no going back. I mean, the amount of times, 26 years this journey has been for me so far, consciously anyway, that I thought, no, I don't think I'm doing that now, because I don't know about you if you've noticed that yet. It's like you go down that pathway with it and you're working that way. And then almost like it's not boredom, but it's like there's something else wants to be birthed through me now. Something else, I suppose, another layer of consciousness is coming through. And then in that space, there's always like a sacred pause, I call it now. It's like everything stops. And I
I
go
like
into
that
this
sacred
sacred
pause.
pause and I'm like, let everything go. And now tell me where I'm going. Now show me what's
Yeah.
happening. And then it evolves again. But yeah, there's no getting off that journey, is there? Because it's life, isn't it? It's the life we've
I had this
chosen.
conversation recently as well, because I've spent, 3 years to get to my Reiki teachers.
Mm.
And by the time I got to the Reiki I love Reiki. I absolutely love incorporating it into everything as much as I love incorporating crystals and meditation and all those sort of things into everything I do. I love it. But by the time I got to the Reiki teachers, having wanted to just get to that point, I already had this little inkling of a knowledge that this, much like most women that I speak to that come on here and that I speak to in this world, in the real world, that you're multifaceted for a reason. Reiki is a really great starting point because once you're attuned, it's always there within you and it works with everything, doesn't it? No matter what you're doing, it's kind of always part of it. But it is almost like a little gateway at the same time because I feel that what I've noticed with lovely women like yourself is whoever needed whatever you offered before your last sacred pause, they've probably got what they needed from you. It was for them. You got your knowledge. You got this kind of, like you said, like an upgrade. You kind of went up a level and your consciousness expanded and they needed that. But it's almost like someone over, like a group of people over here kind of need this. And then you get this download that you need to do something different. And I notice this a lot with people in this community. We can't stop learning because I feel like people are calling. We just don't hear it, but people are calling us to, I need to learn this and I need to learn that because that's what needs to be offered right now. That's what the world
Mm.
needs right now. And as you said, we just keep expanding forevermore.
Well, it's an evolution, isn't it? We're evolving, aren't we? So vastly, really now. And I do feel like that is the next part for me, is working more, I think, from my cellular memory and from that DNA memory. Like there's more coming with that. I can feel it. Even as I sit here thinking about it, I can feel it in my body, like expanding. It's really, really interesting. And like we said
I love
before,
that.
you know, a lot of the work I've done has been with women and helping women to feel safe again in their body after trauma. Because obviously that's where the womb work led me, which was about, you know, the trauma that women have experienced, whether that is through the worst kind, which I've heard every single thing you can think of, you know, to even smear tests, you know, can be traumatizing. And how even with that, then you're not speaking, saying, actually, could you stop doing that? I don't like it. Whatever, you know, it causes that imbalance. So a lot of that has been about bringing women back into their body and kind of repatterning the nervous system to bring that sense of safety to then. So it's never just one thing. So it's doing that, taking the trauma away so they can become more safe in their body, more grounded, more present, to then be able to listen to their own wisdom, to listen to their own guidance, to then expand more into their consciousness. You see, like it's just an ever evolving thing. And now that is, you know, more men come in, because more men are
Yeah.
realizing now that they want that too. They realize that they're not supposed to be here to just follow everybody else's orders and everybody else's idea, that they want now to experience that and to harness their own life force energy, you know, which is our sexual energy, which again has been distorted for a reason, I believe, you know,
Oh,
because it's
really?
so potent.
You think
Yeah,
what we currently see is
100%. I think
okay.
when you look at everything out there, the media, the music, the films, everything, it's so distorted, isn't it? There's too much sexualization of everything, making it one way, that's what your sexual energy. They've made it into that when it's not that. It's that potent life force, isn't it? It's our creation. It's our creational energy. And as much as it's been distorted in women, and I'm sure we had this conversation before about, you know, working with the womb and, you know, what that actually on an energetic level, what that led me to see, and not just me, many, many women, that, you know, when we are really deep connected into our root and we feel really grounded and we feel really present, and then we can, you know, connect to our sexual energy, which is our life force energy, and it's rising up our body, and we connect it with our heart. It's then coming into truth, and then we speak from that energy. We are then imprinting onto our world and into our life absolute creational truth. Where they call it spelling, don't they? But you know, you can be spelling and speaking from a distortion. So from, you know, our wounds, and we can be speaking that into existence, negative self-talk, speaking that into existence. But when we come into that grounded, yes, I feel grounded in my body, yes, I feel safe again in my body, yes, I feel I can trust myself again, is then when we start creating what we want rather than what we've been conditioned to do. And I see now that the root is literally the key to ascension. You know, we talk a lot about ascension, and you kind of imagined that it was up and it was the crown. I now believe it to be the opposite, that it's ascension is actually descension, coming into the root and being safe. So once you start releasing them
Being
programs of,
grounded.
yeah, of, you know, fear of survival, of which everyone must be triggered massively at the moment by, with everything that's going on in the
Yeah.
world. And what that does, it disconnects us from our power, from our creational ability, and from healing and from all of that. So to be really grounded in the body, I mean, grounding for me, I could never do it when I started off on this journey. People would go, "Oh, you're not grounded. You've got to ground." And I'd be like, "Yeah, but I feel like I'm connected to Earth. Why don't I feel grounded?" But then I realized it was in the root. You know, like I still had
Yeah.
so much trauma in my life. I won't go into that, but that I didn't trust myself. Like I couldn't feel safe in my body. And it took a long, long time for me to actually feel safe there. And once I did, then it's like you then open from your root. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, completely. Like, actually, yeah, beautifully so. Yeah,
Mm.
really, really, really beautiful. And I've got a fabulous image in my head of it as well. And yeah, I completely agree with you. I do
The
agree with
women
you.
as well, when they go through that process of being anchored back into their root, it's like energetically you see it, like the darkness and the um infiltration energy, let's just call it that. So any of that kind of dark energy, which people get freaked out about, but it can just be fear, can't it? It can just be all of the stuff that goes on with that. Once that is sort of released, they then breathe through their body. And I often get the image of like a white lotus opening
Yeah,
there, and it
yeah, yeah,
just expands the whole system. It's like the whole system can
yeah.
then work properly, how it's meant to. Your energy's not sharding off everywhere. It's not getting fragmented. You're replenishing yourself. I mean, people always say I look well and vibrant because I feel like I'm so anchored in my body now. I feel that. And when I'm not, it shows like my energy's depleted. It's, you know,
Well, I said that to you, didn't I? I said that to you before we started recording that, your skin, it's glowing and you look radiant. You look absolutely radiant. And I think that you do, you see people's energy through them, don't you? You can see how people are feeling. You can see when people are struggling, they're burnt out, they live in fear or anything else. And you can see that light when it's in them as well.
and important that our energy and how often as women are we taught as well that we have to give to everybody else first. But
Yeah.
and we say that saying, don't we? You've got to fill your own cup. But how often do we actually do that? And are we actually living our spiritual journey, or are we just doing the spiritual journey when we're in meditation, or are we just doing it when we're in this place? It's about doing it from the minute you wake up, isn't it? Like being that, like
It
letting your
really
energy
is. I mean,
replenish you so that you've got enough to give to everybody else. And if you haven't, then that's when you
yeah,
say, sorry, no, I need to look after myself today.
yeah, completely. Completely. And again, I'm working so hard on those boundaries because I do. I find myself saying yes to all sorts of stuff because I am non-spiritually multifaceted as well. So I am a caterer, I am a singer in a band, I am all these other things. Then I'm multifaceted here as well. And I find myself saying yes to all untold things that I might not be able to fit in or cope with or anything else. So the journey is always there. And I think that's what I say to people when they come and see me is there is no quick fix here. No one can poof. And if they say they can poof it out of your life and fix it, then, it's kind of a fib. You've got a lot of work to do. We are healers. But if you don't put any work in yourself, then we can't heal anything anyway. And that I feel I look at that myself and I say that to myself, you've got to listen to your own advice. It's not perfect. I am imperfect. I am human. I don't wake up every single day, sit down and do a 5-minute meditation and then perform yoga and then, make herbal tea. And I don't eat healthy every day. But there are days where I go, this is the day. This is what I'm having. So I try to separate it. Yoga one day, meditation another, good healthy food as often as I can, and so on and so forth. That you look and kind of think that it's all about trying to just fill that cup, isn't it? It's
And
not
I
always
think,
perfect. It
yeah,
won't always be overflowing, but try and
no,
fill it to overflowing.
yeah, and we live in a busy world, right? I mean, I had
Yeah.
4 children, 4 children I brought up on my own in the end. And people would say that they was going to do this meditation, and I'd be thinking, oh fucking hell, I wish I could do that. And then I'd think, well, I'll have to just break it down. I used to call it doing bite-sized healing. So I'd do
Yeah.
like, you know, in the bath, on the
Yeah.
toilet, in the shower, making a cup of tea, like little tiny bits. But those little bits are just like little reminders, aren't they? That just to keep coming back to yourself. Just keep coming back.
Exactly. I'm such an advocate for self-care that I know some people that are in the thick of it likewise, you know, maybe I've got 2 kids, maybe they've got more kids and they kind of go, well, it's easy for you to say I've got more children. And it's like, you just need to narrow it down. And I love the prospect of bite-sized healing. I love that. You
Little
should like
bite-sized
TM.
chunks.
That's brilliant. I love it. Literally just that. I kind of meditate when I stir my tea. I also kind of set an intention. So simple, it takes 10 seconds. You're already stirring it anyway, right? You know, like you're already stood there making the coffee or the tea. Just takes 10 seconds. That 10 seconds for you could actually have such a ripple effect. It's worth the 10 seconds of that bite-sized moment. If you can't do anything for the rest of the day and you've done that, good for you. Like, massive round of applause. It is a busy world. We do struggle to take care of ourselves. And I feel that
Oh my
society
God,
really
yeah.
does its best to push us away from it as well. They
Of
push us
course it
so
does.
hard to believe that gambling online and doom scrolling through our phones at midnight and, you know, taking us away from all these wonderful things that we could be doing. Taking a bath, showering, quiet time, literally just quiet. Do you remember, like, we were talking earlier, weren't we, about, our kids don't know what it's like to be bored or lost. And yet it was so beneficial for all of us growing up. We needed that. Um, And I look sometimes, I think my life is not never quiet because I've got a family and I'm busy, but even when it is quiet and everyone's gone to sleep, I never make it quiet. There's always a television going, a phone in my hand or something. I'm always doing something. And you go, do you not remember just sitting, just quietly, maybe looking out the window or staring at a wall, letting your thoughts
Wandering,
go? Yeah, mind
wandering.
wandering. Then, you know, this is where imagination kicks in. Isn't it? This is the moment where things like imagination, your creativity, possibility, dreaming, you know,
Yeah.
desires, all of those sort of things kind of kick in that quiet, as society is desperately pushing us not to experience that quiet. Everything that they do
Mm.
and everything that they tell us we need is drawing us away from the exact thing that we do need.
It's a
And those are
drain
the
on our
moments
consciousness, isn't it? It's a drain.
completely.
It's a distraction of our consciousness, and that's how powerful it is.
So I do. I find that because I'm an earth sign, I am so connected to nature that when I'm in it, it's not the time that my mind goes quiet, though. It is the time when my mind goes into kind of like this optimal thinking zone. It goes into like a processing
Mm.
sense. It's like it speeds up. But the one that knocks my mind into absolute silence is actually it's yoga. I'm swear it's because my mind is thinking so hard on breathing in time and trying to focus in on the muscles and trying to hold those poses and use all those muscle groups. But it's the only time I realize that for an hour, I don't recall thinking a thing. And for me, it's so therapeutic. I couldn't possibly sell it enough to other people.
Yeah, well, it's conscious exercise, isn't it, really, when you think about it? Because you're being so aware of your body, aren't you, and what's going on in there, and trying to
Yeah.
focus on the breathing. Yeah, we often need that, they say, as women. We need a few things to get our minds to be quiet.
Yeah, well, that makes perfect sense. Well, my lovely, thank you so, so much for coming on today. It has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you.
Ah, thank
But I
you.
believe you drew some cards for this, didn't you?
I did. I drew some cards because I thought, what message do we want to get across to people? Because ultimately, it's about that, isn't it? About giving people hope, I suppose, and clarity in these crazy times we live in on planet Earth. And we had release, which I thought
Love
tied
that.
in well. Release is a gateway to happiness.
And considering some of the things we've actually spoken about today, isn't that just like absolutely fabulous?
Yeah.
Absolutely
So, yeah.
fabulous. It couldn't be more on the nose, to be honest.
Let go of the bullshit, embrace the good shit.
Absolutely. I love that. You've come
Yeah.
up with some really good ones today. I do.
I know,
I
I'm
think you
good
need
at
to
good
start,
at the old
putting your little
sayings.
echoes around it. Oh,
Oh,
honey,
it's been
thank
an
you so much
absolute
for
pleasure.
coming on. It's
It's
been
been lovely to chat with
wonderful.
you.
And obviously, if anybody wants to reach out to Louise Jane and find her or work with her, or ask her a question. You can see she's wonderfully friendly, and I'll pop all of her details into the bio for you so that
Oh,
you can
thank you.
find them nice and easily. And
Yeah,
until next time,
okay.
my darlings, take
Have a
care of
good day.
yourselves.
Bye, darling. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, bye, bye.